Rodman Blake, author of the Ancient Illumination series and the Umbani Chronicles. I am joined once again by Andrea Rose Washington.
Hello.
She's the author of Adalithia, Elindo, and Almond Tree's Magic. And with us, we also have Jordan Purnell Jackson.
Hey, everybody.
He is the creator of Eve of Insurrection and Eve of Reclamation. He is also the graphic illustrator and artist on the Ancient Illumination graphic novels, as well as Errol J. Knight's Jericho's Bane. Today we are finishing off the Sandman. We're going to talk about, since it was kind of a weird, like, instead of even number of episodes, even though it's kind of even because the bonus episode was kind of 2 in 1. So we're doing the last 3 episodes of that. So spoiler alert, if you have not caught up and finished Sandman. So I think the ninth episode was called Collectors, which was so weird. We were introduced to these characters a couple episodes ago where they're starting this convention.
The cereal convention.
Cereal, yeah, which is funny. We see the Corinthian with happy-go-lucky ass Jed just rolling along with this strange person to this convention. They're on their way to the cereal convention and trying to meet up with uh, Rose and Gilbert, as we're told. I knew something was up with Gilbert, but Rose and Gilbert take a road trip to meet them after Lyda tells Rose that she's having a baby, and which was kind of weird. But also, I think we needed that kind of context for the Unity situation with her having a kid from the dreamland because she was in that like
Yeah.
endless sleep. Uh, so it kind of gave us an out for it not to be as creepy as I initially thought it was going to be. When
Yes.
I was thinking, no, this lady was asleep for her whole life in the hospital. Somebody in the hospital been messing with her while she can't even wake up. That's messed up. But then we see this possible for you to have relations, I guess, in the dream world and then have it manifest in the waking world. What do you
So
guys think?
creepy though.
It was
Hmm?
still creepy,
No.
but it wasn't.
Still creep
But it,
regardless.
but at least it wasn't what I thought it was. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I
This
thought it
wasn't
was like
Kill
you see
Bill
a
gone
hospital
too
and like
far.
one of the workers at the hospital, the janitor comes sweeping up and
Yeah.
say, "Oh, what we got here?" And like, no, come on, man, we can't be doing this. But that's not what it was. But yeah, you're right. It was still creepy in a different way.
In a whole different way.
So, um, so like overall, I think that it was like very interesting with like Lyda having and her husband Hector like having a child in the dream world, and then we find out that then we get the confirmation that like he is a ghost
Yeah,
that somehow made its way into the dream world, and I'm like, it was a lot of things going awry when this man was gone. Like anything was possible,
yeah,
and I was like, wow, that's interesting. That was just a really cool concept. Like a ghost made its way into dreams. So, that was just really cool. Also very sad for her. It was kind of traumatic.
Mhm.
Um, we also got some more clarity. So you remember last week, Rob, when we were trying to figure out whose dream it was in the car? Who was that? You remember
yeah. Oh, with Ken
Ken?
Barbie.
Yes,
Yeah,
Ken and Barbie. And then we found out that was Ken's night. Yeah, that was Ken's nightmare. So that was hilarious when Barbie was with what's his name? What's his name? Mark was something Tim Bones. That giant creature, and they're kind of
oh yeah,
walking
the big
around.
like half bear, half walrus thing that's just rolling
Yeah,
around.
and they when all their dreams start colliding, and she catches him with the nurse. I think it was a nurse. Ken was with the nurse, and I was like, "Oh
Yeah,
my god, this all makes sense. This is funny. This is so ridiculous." Um, but yeah, that whole entire scene with like kind of all the dreams coming together was very wild. I was laughing at Jed. I laughed. I'm gonna come save you. I'm the Sandman. No,
yeah.
boy,
That was
you
funny.
getting sucked up in the vortex like everybody else. You can't save your sister, buddy. So like those little moments were like really funny, but
Yeah, that was kind of
um
a weird one. They all meet in the dreaming, and Morpheus meets them and Hector after everybody's kind of fallen asleep, and because he now knows it was kind of bogus the way he was treating Lucienne, and then Lucienne he finally kind of kowtows to her and realizes he needs her help kind of thing, and ask. Because in a roundabout way, he wasn't really requesting her help. He would just be like, you wouldn't happen to know what would cause this. Instead of just coming out and be like, yo, I need your help. Can you help me with this problem? I'm sorry I was a jerk to you a while ago and told you to go back and mind your books. But yeah, he basically comes up with there's cracks in the dreaming that are caused by the vortex shutting down the walls between the dream worlds, and basically tells Hector, yo, homie, sorry, you dead. You got to go. You don't need to be staying here neither. You got to go. Oh yeah, and about that baby,
About to
that's
get
mine.
ashy. You about to get ashy.
No, that was kind of deep. Like that's mine, and that yeah, you can have it for now. She's like, what does that mean? That means when time comes, I want to come towards mine. I'm taking it. I was like, oh, he getting kind of raw with it right now. Was that the? I'm trying to remember. Was that when she was in the car? When she fell asleep?
Gilbert's falling. Gilbert, yeah, it's talking too much as he
Yeah,
falls asleep.
he was so boring. She was like, oh, you're not boring me. Yeah, that was interesting. And then they finally make their way to the convention. You know, Jed, hard-headed ass, he ain't gonna listen. He tells them to stay in the room. You know, he ain't gonna stay in that room. He's about to walk around and get himself messed up. And then it was that we get the reveal that Gilbert is actually the Rolling Green, missing. He's not a nightmare, but he's part of the dreaming. He's actually a place in the dreaming.
Yep.
And the clue we get is when he spots the Corinthian, and he's like super shook. Like,
yeah, they know each other.
Yeah, all the things he sees, he's freaked out about these serial killers and the panels that he goes through and walks through. Like they stole some badges to get into the convention. It was kind of funny, and then he's like, "What are these people talking about?" And yeah, he sees the Corinthian, and he gets spooked, and then leaves a message at the front desk for Rose, like, "Sorry, I had to go." And I was like, "What happened to all that chivalrous stuff you was talking about? You know, she come on hard times and don't want to see her get ransacked, so I'll accompany you. I'll be your knight errant." I'm like, that didn't last too long.
Not against the
report back to Morpheus.
Like, oh, sorry, I got to report on him being here because this just got so much more dangerous than just a whole bunch of killers.
Yeah, he just ran off and snitched, basically. Went back where he was supposed to be. And of course, they find a fake. Was it the boogeyman?
There was a guy. There was a young guy who was saying he was the boogeyman.
I have a feeling the Corinthian killed him. That's why he knew where he was.
Exactly. Did he say he drowned? Did he say the real boogeyman like drowned 3 years ago or something?
Yeah, he drowned in Louisiana. He's like, how do you know? He's like, I know.
I did it. It was me, y'all.
So they find that imposter and take care of him and break their own rules while doing it because they're not supposed to collect. Yeah.
That was wild. They jumped him. I was like, yo. Like, I mean, he did invite them to do it, so I was like,
I sort of understand why they jumped him or why they collected him, because it wasn't like they were collecting a hotel guest or like not hotel guest, a hotel employee or someone in the area that could like reflect back to them. This is someone who was inside, who should have never been inside, who could have exposed them. So this was like we need to save ourselves collecting versus don't take the risk of exposing ourselves collecting.
Yeah,
because that guy wasn't even like
a serial convention. You couldn't have called it an actuary, morticians. You could have called it anything to do with death, and no one would have batted an eye at it. You'd be like, oh yeah, where did we partake in death? You could have all said you were different funeral homes, something else. But serial.
Gilbert's a fool. Like, no children at a serious event. A marketing opportunity that you missed there. I tell you, like, oh.
And then it would have made sense that everyone was wearing dark clothes or whatever. All the because look, from someone who's worked in a hotel standpoint, we walk into those meetings all the time. Ain't no way that hotel staff don't know, like, oh crap, don't be alone with these people. Don't go into their rooms. No. Hotel staff, they would have known what was going on. Because there's no way to have those meetings without someone overhearing it, because you have PSAV, you have all the AV set up in those rooms. No, you should have called it mortician thing or something to do with death. That was a legal thing, and then you could have those conversations. 'Cause I'm like, Everyone in the hotel knows what you're doing.
Yeah.
You may not think they know, but the GM is like, okay, tell
But
all
I
the
mean, what would you do if you were in a? I'd be a little scared if I was in a hotel with like 100 serial killers. I'm like, yeah.
yeah.
Let me just let me just stay on that good side and hurry up and check out. Let me hurry up and check out.
Yeah, like everyone who works in that hotel, I promise you, the back end of a hotel is a gossip site. Everyone knows what happened in room 304. Oh, do you see what happened? We had to clean that room and they were doing this. Did you? I worked in sales and I heard what happened in housekeeping. So like, they should have called it mortuary something or something to do with the like study of dead bodies, something to make their talk more. Oh, okay, they're talking about death, but that's fine because they're scientists who dissect dead bodies after they're dead for science, because that's the whole thing people do. They study dead body and decomposing bodies, but that's an actual job. People actually do that. There's a thing called a body farm. So I felt like there was so much more they could have done to like, because if I worked in that hotel, I'm like, yo, I quit. Deuces. I'm out. Bye. I'll be back after. I'll be back after this group is gone.
Yeah. So we see Jed catches them and sees something he wasn't supposed to see, and then he runs off and runs right into the dude, the little, I don't know what you want to call him, the serial killer who liked to, I guess.
Yeah, I was gonna say pedophile.
He's pedophile, yeah. I mean, I don't know if I don't know if it was a sexual thing. He wanted to play and kill them, so I don't know what he did to him in the interim.
But do that. They play and kill
all of them.
Yeah.
Funland guy.
Yeah.
So they don't all kill kids, but they do. Some do kill kids.
Yeah. So he runs right into dude, and at the last second, Rose finally finds him when she finds out she has a hotel room, and then we end that episode with the Corinthian finding them again, killing dude, and saying
stabbed him right in the back.
Yeah, and the last words of the episode, oh, don't worry about it, you safe with me. I'm like, oh hell.
Not this again. Not this wolf in sheepskin thing again. Come on, Corinthian. Yeah.
So it was an interesting turn of affairs, and of course they ended it kind of on a cliffhanger because the next episode that we come into, we have to catch up to this one and see what happens with the Corinthians. Now they're all in his clutches, waiting on Morpheus to get through. So he has them both in the hotel room, is trying to convince them to stay here and wait on me while I go do this talk. He's the keynote speaker all of a sudden at this convention, and ironically enough, that's when Morpheus finds them both, because does he like hypnotize the audience to make them all go to sleep simultaneously, and that's how he becomes powerful because the vortex is there as she breaks down the walls. That was an interesting scene. And
I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, for those of you following, we're now talking about the episode after Lost Hearts, where we pick up again with the Corinthian at this convention. Yeah, so the vortex just being there in their presence breaks down the walls between the dreams, and all these crazy ass serial killers together dreaming the same dream that the Corinthian has made basically makes him stronger, or as strong as Morpheus, we find out, because they start to clash. And you could tell the Corinthian was kind of feeling himself. He's like, well, he looked like the dude in what's it, Tombstone, the cowboy film. I'll be a Huckleberry. Like, let's find out. Let's find out if the dream can die. And it's like, that was kind of crazy.
Oh yeah, him getting that one stab off on Morpheus. I'm like,
yeah, because he was like, that's these, and Morpheus, he's dumbfounded, like, oh, that's not supposed to happen.
What?
Yeah, so they clash while the Corinthian is giving his keynote speech, and he's found some strength. And in the midst of all that, we have this weird, like, philosophical dreamland argument where they're basically trying to convince Rose which one that she should side with. What do you guys think about this part?
Very anticlimactic. I felt like there should have been more than just a little stab to the hand. This story to me feels very much scene driven and not dialogue and action driven sometimes. because there's a lot that led up to this moment and this confrontation between Morpheus and the Corinthian, and all it was a little stab wound in the hand, and then just a lot of talking back and forth. I wanted to see a little something more.
More action.
Yeah, or like him blocking Morpheus' sand versus like stabbing him. Like, I don't know. It just felt anticlimactic. And when it happened, I was like, really? You're collapsing? I mean, I know you're shocked because he stabbed your hand, but like, Morpheus, like, come on. Be more than words. Corinthian, you
But that's
kill
all
people.
Morpheus.
Maybe you start attacking him a bit more. Try swiping. I don't know. I was watching like, okay, this is words again. Okay, we're just gonna talk this out. I don't know. It was very.
I feel like that was. I feel like that was the. I feel like this show was infamous for its dialogue and like there was. I kind of accepted that when we first started this journey because I was like, this show's a lot of talking, and I'm fine with that. I'm totally fine with that. And so I wasn't expecting this huge dramatic scene with the Corinthian. Although technically we've gotten more. I think we've seen more interesting battles. Like I feel like the scene with is it John? Is it John? John? Where is that John? Yes, on the Ruby. Him and Morpheus fighting, or their battle had like a way more kind of cinematic and like climatic. It had a more climactic feel to it. So I could
John
see.
D.
Yes, when they have their little battle, like that scene almost felt more impact. That felt way more impactful than like the battle between Corinthian. Because weren't they just? What'd you say?
Like it felt more like a spat than it felt like a battle. Because same thing. I'm on the same wavelength. Like there was more urgency and back and forth with getting the ruby back, but not stopping. Like, but when you're going up against the guy that you think is the cause of everything, it's just almost sort of boring in a sense to me. And
we got a comment. Sylvester Barzy says it was a beautiful show, but I felt like it was missing something, and it felt like a whole different season halfway through.
What up, Sylvester? Yes, I agree. It definitely felt like two different seasons put together.
Yeah. This part that we're talking about now, I think, was kind of like the proverbial angel and devil sitting on your shoulder, whispering in your ear, because that's what they were like to Rose, as they're walking between all the weird serial killers' dreams are now.
That was a cool scene, by the way.
In one place, and they'd be like, "You should come with me." No, you should come with me. He's just trying to kill you. No, I'm trying to protect you. It was just that weird back and forth. And finally, she just is like, forget it. She bails on them both.
I like that. I like that she did that. That part.
I did like that.
And then it kind of shut the door on the Corinthian, because once she did that, he was no longer able to kind of pull power from her and make himself stronger in this collective dream. And that's kind of where it was anticlimactic for me, because then after Morpheus just basically dust him down to this little tiny ass skull, I was like, well, you could have did that long ass time.
You should have been to that. Yeah, I mean, I agree like that. I did feel that way. I'm like, oh, this is a little anticlimactic, and then like, but I was then kind of brought back when he basically cursed all the collectors with kind of this guilt, this collective guilt and conscience, and like all the collectors are kind of like, some of them making phone calls, turning them in, like that one woman, she turns herself in.
One killed themselves.
The old guy killed himself. Like, it was like, oh, and they just walk, like and Jed and Rose are just in the car, like, oh, like driving off, and I was like, oh, so morbid. Like that was so.
He removes the illusion that Corinthian created for the collectors, revealing their true selves to themselves. And let's see the next part. I can't understand my damn handwriting. But then he asked the assistance from Lucien. Basically, that's the part I think where he officially asked Lucien for help. And then Jed and Rose end up going back to see Lyta and crew. at the hospital.
Because she's
I think
giving birth to a dream baby.
the dream baby, yeah,
Dream babies.
the dream
Dream
baby.
baby.
So let's take a quick break, and then we'll talk about the rest of this episode, Lost Hearts. We'll finish that off, and then at the end, we'll talk about the bonus episodes. We'll be back in a second. Welcome back to the second half of the Askari cast. In case you missed the first half, we are still talking about the Sandman, streaming currently on Netflix, and we're just finishing up the season. We're going to get to the second half of Lost Hearts episode, and then we'll get into the bonus episodes, Dream of a Thousand Cats and Calliope at the end. So where we left off, my bad, I'm with Andrea Rose Washington.
Hello.
And Jordan Purnell Jackson.
Hey, everybody.
So yeah, they go to the hospital to catch Lyda dropping this dream baby, and we see that with the Ken is getting all the info from the nurse, and Barbie is none too happy about that when they arrive. And then and Rose dream walks again while they're there, and that's when she's realizing at least part of what Morpheus is telling her is true, because she starts basically becoming this tornado that's destroying her friends and the people that she's close to. And I guess the idea is that it's going to spread not only from there but into the waking world, because she has the power to destroy both. What do you guys think? And we already kind of mentioned this scene before. Jordan was talking about Ken.
Ken with the nurse.
It was a dream.
Yeah, it was. It was just a dream.
That part.
He knows that.
That part always reminded me of, I don't know if you've seen on TikToks of, like, today I got kicked out of my house because my wife dreamed that I cheated on her. I gotta wait for her to dream her forgiving me before I can go back in. And it's just like you can't get mad at what someone dreamed. Like, you can't, honey. Like, it may suck. You were never supposed to see it. It was his private dream. Chill.
I'm wondering how they're aware of each other though in the dream.
Are you talking about with? You
how
mean
Ken knows it's a dream? Because Ken is telling her it's a dream in the dream.
Oh, because why would I be in a Ferrari with the nurse? I know I went to sleep next to my wife. That's a dream. That's not real life.
Lucid dreaming, because I'm a lucid dreamer, so like I know when I'm dreaming. It sucks because you can't wake up, but it's like, oh, I know whenever. Oh, this is a dream. Okay, let's go jump off the building.
Woo!
So and then I wake up. We get an interesting part after that where Unity just pulls up on the library in a dreaming. Like, did any of you guys figure that she was actually supposed to be the Vortex?
I did not figure.
Didn't see that coming. Didn't see that coming one bit. And I'm like, wow, this isn't. I liked how things were coming together. The connections there. I was like, this is very cool.
I'll say that was Unity's truth bomb that she didn't even realize was a true truth bomb about the golden eyes, and it was supposed to be her, was probably the best part of this entire show for me.
Okay.
Like, just that, like, bringing it sort of full circle from the first, we see this one random girl. Because, like, really, why did we care about this one random girl being asleep in the very beginning? Okay, so they showed her, they never do anything by accident. If they show it, there's a reason. Mm-hmm. And then to come back into, the reason we saw her was because, the Vortex is her granddaughter. Okay. And then we come back and it's like, actually, she was supposed to be the Vortex. But if that had never happened, okay. So, like, that was, to me, the best sort of connection for the entire series. Because this series very much felt like just random stories at some point. So this was a great connection to tie the last episode and the first episode full circle.
Yeah, that was cool. Not only that, she was supposed to be the Vortex, so she offers basically to sacrifice herself to spare Rose. But then we also get clued into who got her pregnant. It's like the man with the golden eyes.
Golden eyes.
And that's what tipped Morpheus off. He's like, did you say golden eyes? Like, yeah, I ain't never
I
seen
liked
nothing like it.
I liked how from a film perspective, like they instead of her just saying the man with the instead of it just being like man with the golden eyes, and then we just stay in the same scene, they do like a slight cut where they actually show Desire. So to remind you, in case
Yeah,
you forgot who the man with the golden eyes was. So
yeah.
I was just like, that was like a cool little small thing to do.
Go ahead, Andrea.
Yes,
Desire
Andrea.
made me very uncomfortable.
Hmm?
I don't know why, but Desire made me like physically uncomfortable whenever they spoke. Whenever I don't know, they just I guess I was maybe the air they were supposed to. I don't know. I guess 'cause I feel like they were trying to be seductive because like their desire, but really it
Yeah.
was just like, really, honey, Unity, you wanted that? I mean, I guess in the dream world you're limited on who you come into contact with, but really, it just
Was
came
was
off
it
as
the
creepy to me and not
You could have better options.
yeah? Was it
like
the
it came off.
androgyny that bothered you?
No, it was just he was. They were trying to come off as seductive,
Yeah.
and it felt creepy, not seductive. And so it
Okay.
was their mannerisms, not like they were a beautiful person, but no, it was just like that vibe you get when you meet someone like, no, I'm gonna stay away from you because this. I don't know if you understand consent. Like so, like Desire just gave off. I guess they were trying to be seductive because that's their thing. They are desire and to make
Yeah.
people want stuff. But for me, it was just like you're creeping me out with your desire.
Do
I
you
Yeah.
don't
think
desire this.
do you think if they gave us more screen time with Desire, you would got a better sense, or do you think we would got a better sense of like who they are and kind of like maybe that would have shifted it from less creepy to actual like true desire and seduction?
I don't know because I mean, I'm guessing Unity is wouldn't have fallen for that version because that version didn't seem like very lovey-dovey. So
I
it's
was
all
considering that too.
so
Like,
it
does
could have been
Desire
like
change himself?
yeah, like they changed themselves to fit what Unity wanted because this was all a long con, apparently. So,
Yeah.
like, I don't know. It all like I guess their truest self. No, it probably would never like their truest self because their truest self didn't seem genuinely like a person I wanted to be around. So it was like, okay, you're making me
Hmm.
uncomfortable because for that pure fact, I don't trust you. I can't like I just you don't make you're not someone I can trust. So I was like, no, I'm gonna stay away from you. I don't know what's going on, but I don't feel like you agree to consent. So you're gonna stay over there. I'm gonna stay over here. So I mean, I'm hoping that they had a whole different personality for Unity because otherwise, Unity, what? I know you were dreaming, girl, but come on, have some
He may
standard,
yeah, Desire may
self-esteem.
have appeared to her differently as
Yeah,
well, and just had the main feature of those golden eyes too. So we
yeah.
don't know what
I did like them eyes. The eyes were
what
beautiful.
he looked like or they look like. Um, so Lyda has the baby, and Hal pursues his dream, and then at the end, Morpheus not kind of, Morpheus definitely, since he's put all the pieces together, threatens Desire. Did either of you catch that Lyda? It seemed like she was going to not name the baby.
Yeah,
Because remember, Jed
she did.
with the Corinthians said to him, like, you notice how, because he didn't give Jed his name when he was like, "What's your name?" And the Corinthian didn't say. He said, "You notice when you're in trouble, is the only time that people call your name." And so he repeats that phrase to Lyda when they ask about what the name of the baby, and she's looking at him like, "That's it. I just won't name it, and then nobody can ever call him, and that's it. He'll never be in trouble because no one can call his name." I was like, I could kind of see that thought process. I'm like, that don't make no damn sense. It's not gonna work.
Morpheus and Lucian's gonna find out. Be like, "There's a nameless child running around here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna find him."
And then we get to see that Rose finally writes her book. And Galt, happy ending for Galt. Galt becomes a dream and not a
Yay!
nightmare.
That was
That was
awesome.
pretty
I was
cool.
happy about that too.
And then
CGI was okay at that part, but
yeah, and then we see that Lucifer is still holding grudges and having Zoom conferences in hell with Azazel and other demons. So I guess they're about to come out the woodwork and try and jump everybody. They're going to try and either, if they can't come into the waking world, then they'll expand hell until hell is everywhere. So, but I mean, we knew I don't know. Have they been approved for a second season yet?
I don't know.
Yeah. That's basically what they're setting up. That's what that cliffhanger was for.
Yeah, it's huge. All setups. I'm like
Yeah.
Desire, and I don't know. I felt like how Morpheus handled Desire was kind of like very much like something siblings would do. But I'm like, it's still that part also felt a little anticlimactic for me. Like,
Yeah.
this is what you do to your sibling after they betrayed you. Like,
So
there was
grab your
no.
forehead real hard.
Yeah, let me get that. Like what?
I
Because
think
like,
Desire like that.
because like I guess the rule is they can't spill each other's blood.
Yeah.
And so like what are you gonna do to Desire then? Like you can't actually hurt Desire like directly or
Yeah. I think
indirectly.
that's part of it.
Like
But
what are you
Desire
gonna do?
says that. I feel like Desire's last line about referencing the spilling blood. I'm like, okay, they're clearly gonna come back. They're gonna get Morpheus. I'm like, all right, come on, somebody give us season 2.
It's
And then
all indirect, like you said,
yeah.
Andrea. They're gonna try and use other people, other
So
creators.
could Lucifer? Oh,
Because like I guess he would have been technically breaking a rule had Morpheus killed Rose. He would have been killing off some of his bloodline because that's the great grandchild of Desire. So he'd have been killing family.
it's technically so. Would Lucifer be an acceptable pawn for Desire to use? Like, couldn't they team up and then could Lucifer be used to kill Morpheus instead? Because Lucifer's not endless.
Yeah. I have a feeling that was all part of the plan, which was why they were working it out so that his helm ended up in hell to set that conflict up.
Which was a cool episode too.
So yeah, it's a cool concept. As far as I guess I want to say like the regular season, like the expanded episodes of the playoffs or something.
Those are the DLC.
Yeah.
Those are the DLC episodes.
What did you feel overall about the season overall? Bonus episodes notwithstanding, because we're about to talk about those. How did you feel about this season?
So I'll give the setting and the storyline, like in the dialogue, I'm going to give that like a 9.
Okay.
But like everything else is like a 5.
Oh, wow,
it just didn't like for this didn't translate well to a TV show in my opinion, because I guess reading it, I had it when I was watching it, I got to a point where I actually fell asleep during an episode because I was like, this is really boring me. Like it's not enough to keep me attentive watching it, but I felt like if I was reading it or listening to an audiobook, it would have been different because I could have imagined it differently in my head, and I could have like imagined the action different. But seeing how all the things were mostly like fights with words, verbal spars, I'm like, okay, yeah, but like I don't know, it's an hour of a verbal spar. It just doesn't translate well to TV, in my opinion, for me. I have to say my favorite episode, or my favorite part of an episode, was when he spoke to that one guy for an hour, because at least it was like there wasn't really any fights, it wasn't any really story. We had to see him make a friend. Like that was literally probably my favorite episode of this, and it was like one
the time jumps. Oh, the time jumps.
Yeah, the guy who lived for 100.
With Hob
every century. That's probably my favorite episode. And then probably had the least amount to do with the overall storyline.
It was just some shenanigans.
It was just like that, right? That one was my favorite episode. That was the only one I really actually was like, okay, I'm interested in knowing what happens to Hob every year. Oh, and every year we see, or every century we see Dream get a little bit more comfortable and a little bit more comfortable. And then at the very end, he's like, I have a friend. It's rude to keep a friend waiting or something like that. And Hob like catches that and they smile and talk. That was probably, I could watch that episode again. I wouldn't watch any of the other ones ever again.
Wow. Jordan?
I think overall I would give this show, actually I like different. I just like to see something different sometimes. So I don't always like to go for action. Like it doesn't need to be action heavy, but I think for me, I'm gonna give it like an 8.5. Because I really enjoyed like just like this being kind of brought into this world. I kind of like these different Easter eggs that they have related to like the one episode where we're introduced to Jed and like seeing Easter eggs to like other DC characters because it's in DC world, small stuff like that. Um, and I really enjoyed the episode in the diner.
Oh my goodness, that
That
horrible thing.
that episode actually was very interesting.
Why are you looking confused,
Um,
Andrea?
yeah, why do you look so confused? That
I
that
hated
episode,
that.
I feel like that episode
Yeah,
had such
that
a
was pain. That episode was painful for me. I give it like an 8 out of 10. I like the visuals for the most part. The CGI was well done, with a few exceptions where it was kind of off, but for the most part, it was well done. I like the story. I like the characters. I like how things were drawn together in different ways.
Mhm.
How the episode that Andrea likes, I like that episode as well with Hobb. When you
That one
see
was cool too.
the the whiskey glass in the shape, and then they fade into the shape of his chamber that he was stuck in. That's why he missed the meeting, because he was captive for 100 years. All that was really cool. I liked it. I hope they get this second season going, or if not, maybe since it is a DC property, maybe it'll end up on HBO Max or whatever the heck it's going to be called if this buyout actually goes through next. But I hope to see more. I do like a little bit more action in most of my stuff, but it was enough to keep me rolling along. But there were some things that kind of made me feel uncomfortable as well. Watching the diner scene, that whole show, I was like, where in the hell is this going? What is happening? What's up with this brother
I
telling
liked
me
it.
to do it? Sometimes you got to get your thing sucked. I'm like, what is happening? I was like, where
It
did
was so
that come
impactful. It was an
from?
impactful episode. I'm telling
Next
you,
thing you
just
know,
it
folks
hit
getting
you.
stabbed in the neck with a bottle. I'm like, whoa, okay, they're just going there. People are cutting their hands off. It was just some things that went a little too far for me, but I was still entertained enough with most of it so that I could stomach it. So there's that. Go ahead.
I have to say,
Oh,
seeing the chef tell the waitress that he waits for her to go to sleep
Yeah.
so he can go. I was like, all right, I'm done. I was like, we're
that
done.
was crazy.
Like,
That was crazy. That
We're
was
done.
crazy.
Yeah, I think for part of that, I wasn't really paying attention. I was just kind of listening, and I was just like,
What?
well, what? What's
And
happening?
sometimes they let him do it to me.
What?
He's really good.
That was a very interesting episode. But I think us now I'm kind of reflecting on. I think that go like another reason why I gave it 8.5 is because I feel like I think about like how the story, how it kind of feel like it was a little all over the place. Like
Yeah.
certain episodes are like did feel like just one-off stories. Like it would kind of move around, kind of like in a weird, chaotic way. Like we would go back to the main storyline, or we jump into something that's just off the beaten path. So it was a little weird to kind of do that. But so that's partly why another reason why I gave 8.5.
Was it jarring for you that the Cats episode was animated, and then they went right back to live action with Calliope?
No, because I like animation, so I let it go.
I mean, I like animation too, but Monica looked at me because she wasn't really paying attention. The wife, I was watching it, and she was doing something else, and then I just saw her kind of turn around, like, "Is this the same show? Like, what is this?" So I'm like,
What is
yes,
it?
it's the same
I was not
thing.
expecting animation, but I'm like, hey, smart move with Cats. Well
So-
played.
Well, I hate cats, but so
Terrible
that
for a human being.
episode,
Terrible people.
they are evil little creatures.
They're not evil. Humans are evil. This episode proves humans are trash. Cats
And
in
then
a bag and a brick.
She literally was using a human as a chew toy.
First of all, that was a dream from Morpheus that was made up. What are you talking about?
She wanted to. So, yes. So that episode actually made me realize that I think I would have liked this show more if it was all animated.
Really?
Like what was that show on Amazon?
Because I feel like they would have been able to go a little bit further, and maybe some of the scenes would have worked a bit better, or maybe I would have. I don't know. It felt seeing maybe not the same type of animation as the cat was, as the cat side story, but it made me think that if this entire season was animated, I think I might have connected a little bit more, and maybe it wouldn't have been so, because like people are limited in what they can do, like what you can physically do.
Yeah.
And so if there was a drawing, maybe the action would have looked a bit differently versus like the verbal spats, or even the scene between the devil and Morpheus having their like verbal one-upping each other in a fight.
The,
I feel like that
the
might have
Fast and
been
Creed rap battle.
yeah.
That could have been fire. I see
was-
your point. That would have been fire as animation.
So yeah, I just think that made me think like, oh, you know what? If this entire season was animated, I probably would have liked it a bit more. It just didn't, maybe it was like it just the fact that it was live action, it limited it a bit, and that's why I was like, because this it's set up. They set it up to almost be like an action show, adventure show of him getting all the stuff back, and it was really a monologue.
True. You, Andreas, you brought up a great point about it being animated. Did you ever watch the show Undone on Amazon?
No, but I've heard about it.
That would have been nice if Sandman was like rotoscoped live at like a rotoscoped realistic animation. That would have been fire. Darn it, that was a good. Oh, missed opportunity. Whatever. We got an animated cast.
Before we sign off, what y'all think about Calliope and the Muse trapped by the writer episode?
Oh, he deserved worse.
What?
As a writer, he deserved worse.
Yeah.
He deserved to instead of his brain going blank. I think it would have been better if you just kept giving him horrible ideas that he thought were amazing, and then no one buying them.
And he has the slow burn of his career.
Because once you write a best-selling, or once you have something, you could say, "That's all I want to say. I'm done." Even though you know, and all your friends know, you just don't have another idea. The world could think, "Oh, that was his one great story. He went out on a high. He can now like consult or whatever." But like if you give him crappy book after crappy book, and then like he goes from this well-known author to a joke, I think that would have been a better fitting punishment for a writer to like love. Oh, every word I'm writing is amazing. This is awesome, and like this is crap, dude. Like this is crap. I feel like that would have been a better punishment for him.
I see your point. I think I enjoyed what we got because it seemed very theatrical and ridiculous. Like him just spewing out these ideas at a lecture. I was like, oh, this is interesting. Like I liked how Morpheus handled that one. I was like, this is different. Like,
you want new ideas? You shall have them.
You'll be overwhelmed.
I will say, I do want to read a book about someone getting a library card to the Library of Alexandria. That, see, when he said that line, I was like, oh.
You're like, that's a good idea.
Like you randomly get a library card and you can check out all the scrolls. What? I would love that.
But so yeah, that was cool. I think that like all the events leading up, like in the beginning, once again, what is up with white guys getting like magical artifacts and just doing all these things, like
raping them?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
We got it. Hey, we're on Spotify. We're online. We can't use that word. It's the R word or something. Assaulted.
Something very awful to women.
Yes. And so like that was just like because like when Aramis says the idea, he brings up the idea of using force. I'm like, oh god, he's gonna assault her. I know this is gonna go, and like, but I was kind of like, is Richard gonna do it? And then when he gets to that point of desperation, that's when he like gives up, and I'm like,
come on, you hear the little knock, and I was like, you son of a
and comes back with like a scar on his face and shirt on. I was like, yep, you did it. You're trash. And I'm like, and I was also thinking about the idea after that happened. I was just also reflecting on ideas like a creator, how like with this obsession with like trying to make your best work, and also looking at the publishing business and how like my man's took that advance.
Yeah.
And he ran out of ideas. And like that's what you get. That's what you get, buddy. You shouldn't take an advance.
Yeah, I was having a conversation today about someone asked me why didn't I want to do traditional publishing, and that was the one thing. Like you get that advance, and then once you haven't made enough money beyond that advance, you won't get anything more until the residuals eclipse that, and then you'll start. I was like, yeah, I'm cool. I like to just make my money as I make it.
Mm-hmm.
Good, Andrea?
I do have to say for the cat part, if she did not claw that man's, I don't care. I'm gonna preface by saying I don't like cats at all. But if that cat did not claw that man's eyes out of his
You
head,
wanted the cat to attack her owner?
yes,
that would have been the most realistic thing ever. By the way, I'm gonna agree on
it would have
that
been realistic
because some cats just attack
their owners. I supported cats. It would have been the one time I truly would have been behind. Like, yes, get it, because he could have done anything else to those kittens. Yeah. And you drowned them. That tells me you are an evil person. I don't like animals, but I would have never killed one. I don't like cats. I would have never done that. If I ended up with a litter, I would have went to I would have found someone to adopt them.
FPCA or something.
Yes. You put a brick in a bag and you drown. Oh, I wanted that cat to destroy that man and then destroy his, to make sure he can never have kids.
She kind of, I thought it was too poetic for her to like go on this. I'm gonna go on, which I did love the journey she went on, almost to cat hell or something, or just like meeting Morpheus as a giant black cat and him.
So the giant black cat was supposed to be Morpheus. The Dream
King?
was
more. That was Dream Cat. That was the Dream King as a cat. I like that he kind of like inspired her to tell the story. Like it was very poetic, but like if this was more action based, it would have been more horrific. Like she would have woke up, she would have messed up the dad, and then they would have had to put the cat down.
The giant cat tossing up the humans was hilarious.
That was funny.
It was great. Start with scrape. Before he wakes, like while he's in bed, you get up there, scrape the crap out of his eyes, scrape some other places, and while the wife is like, oh my god, then you start out of the house, and then you go on this journey. You want them to get back at their human oppressors.
Yeah,
I agree. So yeah, that was a little. All right, that was a little underwhelming, but I mean is it Calliope?
Calliope, yeah.
Calliope. The Calliope episode brought back more intensity and drama, which was very nice. And there was something else I kind of wanted to mention about the Calliope episode.
He had a son.
Yes. Oh, yes. Morpheus, baby daddy, husband, whatever. How did y'all feel about that reveal? When the ex comes back to save you.
Well, the son is gone apparently, because apparently he got.
Isn't he dead? Or is he in hell?
Yeah, he's dead. So we'll get nothing from that. Perhaps if they get this other, I still want to go back to Sister Girl that he saw in hell.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
That's what I want to return. See what that, and see what he looks like. If that, if there was just, if he could just change his race and.
Which is very interesting.
Yeah.
Yes, you didn't care about
that. I just didn't care.
This is why we're friends.
Good episodes.
Well, this was fun. This was a fun series to go through and watch. Thank you guys for chopping it up with me. Sylvester, thank you for checking us out on the live. We appreciate it. You can check us out on Anchor, the Askari Cast, everywhere where podcasts are being broadcast from. So if you got iTunes, if you got Google Cast, Radio Cast, Spotify, and all that, you can catch the audio from these there. And don't forget to also check out Trek and Beyond,
a Star Trek podcast. Discover strange new worlds with us.
There you go. Check them out every week, and we are here every Thursday, pretty much, unless the scheduling conflict happens. We will talk to you all next week. Peace.